Get home from school, turn on my TV. Who are these friends staring right back at me? Now that we're older, why don't you come over and go back in time with me? 90s babies nostalgia.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Jessica, and this is 90s Babies Nostalgia, where two fully grown millennial women rewatch and sometimes watch for the first time iconic entertainment from the early 2000s.
Just to be clear, we are not sponsored by nor affiliated with any of the brands, channels, shows, actors, anything that we are talking about. We just really like talking about TV. And today, the TV that we are talking about is Life with Derek, Season 1, Part 2. We are going to be discussing episodes 4 through 13, but not all of them, but most of them. Keep up, guys. It'll be in the description. Before we get into it, Jessica, what have you been enjoying lately?
So this is going to be more material item, but as you all know, I'm a huge concert junkie. And in the last couple years, I have been trying out different earplugs because I understand at this point my ears are irreversibly damaged. They're fucked. I went to Warp tours and punk shows from the age of 12 not wearing any sort of earplug and continued to not wear any sort of earplug until the last couple of years. And now I would say 95% of the time I remember to wear them, but I wear the ones called Eargasm. I know people love Loop. This isn't about the brand. It's just if you love live music, frickin' protect your ears. I don't get ringing. I wake up with way less headaches. There are so many other benefits to them. And I just can't believe that I went this long just letting the bass and everything damage my poor little ears.
When did you start using them?
Post-pandemic, once concerts came back, so I would say late 2021 is probably when I started more consistently using them.
Wow, so it was late in the game for you.
Oh, yeah, I have probably a decade and a half of just damage on my poor little eardrums. I know, and you only get 2 of them.
Yeah, well, I mean, implants do exist.
Sure, for eardrums?
Hearing aids.
Oh, yeah.
I was also thinking of cochlear implants, but no, people who are born with the majority of their hearing get just hearing aids. Those are common.
Yeah.
But no one wants to be 45 with a hearing aid.
Yeah. So that's why I'm trying to take care of them. So that's my, what I've been enjoying is, I guess, being an adult. Protect your ears.
Nice. Good one.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
I'm going to give some life advice that I need to take.
Oh.
Speaking of protection.
I like that this has turned into life advice time.
Yeah, well, I really wasn't sure what I was going to say for this one. And then you said that, and I was like, you know what? We'll go with the weird one that I was thinking about, which is insurance. I'm not promoting insurance. I know what you're thinking. Amanda, insurance is owned by the devil, and you're not wrong. It is. But the life that we're set up in, it does require certain insurances, particularly if you care a lot about things that they are insuring. Me, myself, and I does not have a car because I do not want to think about the insurance and I do not want to think about the damages to it because I will never care that much about a car and I don't want to. However, my poor little baby kitty was sick the last day and I had to take her to urgent care and do some diagnostic stuff. And it came out to $1,100. And that is standard. That is not unreasonable. To get an x-ray, some blood work, some sedation because she wouldn't shut the fuck up and calm down, and just the standard visit. I mean, the standard visit alone is $140. And pet insurance doesn't have to be expensive. And if you have a pet like mine that just likes to eat things that are not edible, and specifically things that are not edible, she's not a hungry cat. She does not eat all of her food any day of the week. She never finishes her food, yet she will eat plastic. You could probably get insurance. And I also was thinking of this because 2 weeks ago, my building was on fire. And I was thinking, maybe I really should get renter's insurance. And I haven't done that yet. I will tell you, I don't have pet insurance, but I'm about to get it because of today. Because
Yeah.
this cat is only 3.5 years old and I need it.
Yeah. Chris and I met our deductible for Toby's insurance by the end of February of this year.
That's nuts.
Yep. So that tells you it is,
Especially
as
for
Amanda's
dogs.
saying, I think in pets in general, if you really love something, it's worth insurance. But also, if you adopt an animal and you don't know their history, insurance covers everything as long as it's not pre-diagnosed. If you already have something diagnosed, insurance most of the time in pets unfortunately doesn't cover it. So if you have a pet that's adopted and they don't come with any medical history, that is the time to get them insured, is right away, because then everything insurance will cover.
That's conflicting. Because as learned today, my cat does have severe arthritis in one of her joints, and it's not her regular vet. I don't know that you would call it diagnosed because it's not on like paperwork, but it was shown to me on an x-ray, and also she came to me with paperwork saying she had previously had a severe fracture and would have joint issues for her life.
Also, they rely on you to submit whatever medical history you have. So all
Hell
we have
yeah.
is vaccinations. So, like, up to you on what you disclose.
Hell yeah. So I'm looking into that. I probably won't get renter's insurance. Don't tell my landlord I'm supposed to have it. No one ever checks. They just send me emails every 6 months saying, hey, update your renter's insurance. I might not do that one because when I really look around and think about it, what do I care about things burning down? Like, yeah, I would be sad. There would be memories lost. But the majority of it is like, am I safe? Do I have my meds? Do I have my ID? Do I have my laptop? Do I have my cat?
Yeah.
If all those things are good, I can live with myself,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
But if you're not like me and you care about your material possessions, maybe consider renter's insurance. If you care about your pets, maybe consider pet insurance. Just don't knock it, I knocked it, and I'm regretting that a little.
Yeah, I like this. Life advice with Jess and Amanda.
Can you
Protect
tell how
your
old?
ears. Yeah, can you tell that this is the year of 30 for us?
Guys,
Ay.
30 has been so good and so bad at the same time. Like, I've really thrived and I've really struggled.
Yeah.
Let's get into life with Derek.
Yeah. We are going to kick it off with episode 4, The Party.
Ooh, this one's a fun one.
Yeah, this episode starts in the future, and then we get a flashback to tell us where you're at. So Derek and Casey are sitting on the bathroom floor, looking like a mess, apologizing to one another, and we flash back to 1 hour prior where we see them having a huge fight, still in the bathroom, locked in the bathroom together, shooting shampoo and shaving cream at one another, while we hear that there's a party happening in the living room.
Then we go even further back to Nora and George letting the kids know that they're going to go away for the weekend because they didn't have a honeymoon and they want to go to a bed and breakfast. And Lizzie says, we have beds and breakfasts here. And they got a sitter for the kids. But Derek and Casey are very offended by this because they are grown-up 15-year-olds, and haven't they proven time and time again that they can take care of their younger siblings? To which their parents say, Casey, yes. Derek, no.
Yeah.
You need a sitter. So they pretend. They pretend that they are getting along is the main thing that the parents weren't going to let them babysit for, is that they fight all the time. So how can they possibly take care of their siblings? And Nora and George see through it, but at the same time are like, if you can even get along through pretending to get along for this long, we'll take Marty because she's the youngest and we still don't trust you that much, but you can watch Lizzie and Edwin without a sitter.
So they leave them. They're about to kick off the weekend and the door starts ringing because what does Derek do? He throws a party.
Immediately.
Like, Nora and George are freshly out the door and this party is kicking off. And the party gets more out of hand as the night progresses and Casey is trying to stop the party, but Emily is kind of having a fun time and she's like, Casey, live a little, let's enjoy, and introduces her to a cute guy to distract her. And she remembers that Paul, the guidance counselor at school, had told her that she should be having more fun. And so Casey then later on in the evening is like, this party is still getting out of hand. This guy does not provide enough of a distraction. So she goes to find Derek, and Derek is fixing the bathroom door since the knob is broken. But she immediately comes in to yell at him and shuts the door, locking both of them in the bathroom. So they send Edwin downstairs to try to calm down the party. So he goes down and does magic tricks.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like kind of ridiculed and made fun of. And so he runs upstairs and is like, teenagers are frightening. And Lizzie's like, yeah, teenagers are scary. I don't want to go down there. So they both, Edwin and Lizzie, are hiding in the attic.
And Casey wants to call the parents, and Derek doesn't want to, and George calls him, and he hangs up and turns off his phone.
Yeah.
But they hear something, and Derek had said that he has a study group over. While they're in the bathroom, Derek and Casey have like a heart-to-heart about how, she's not so bad, and maybe Derek shouldn't have chosen the very first time that the parents left them in charge to throw a party. And he says, like, he feels like everyone expects him to mess up, so he just does it for that reason sometimes. And then because of that, Nora and George show up, and they say they rushed home because he said he had a study group over, which was an immediate red herring. And they let them out of the bathroom, and Casey takes partial blame for the party because she's trying to be nice because Derek fed her that sob story. But then they're like, you're partially responsible. You can be partially responsible for the cleanup. And he's like, you're an absolute sucker. Enjoy cleaning up. She cleans up the house and then dumps all the trash on his bed.
Mm-hmm. Deserved.
Deserves. First question, who did the non-linear flashback style narrative better, Life with Derek or Challengers?
Oh, Challengers, of course. Not a question at all.
Sure?
Getting into our notes, one of my favorite things is going off the end of last episode. I actually think we got to see a little bit of Lizzie and Edwin's characters in this episode. Lizzie is terrified of the teenagers that are in this house. She sees a couple making out and she's like, ugh, gross. Hurries up the stairs. I found it adorable.
Yeah, I really enjoy their like trying to help, and then they're scared, and then Casey bribes them, and then they're scared again, but they do really work together, and I enjoy them.
Yeah.
They're like just good little beans.
Yeah. They're trying, but also they're like, we don't want any part in these tasks that you're assigning to us. Like, this is out of our comfort zone.
Yeah, they have boundaries for themselves.
There is one point where Derek either tells or kind of like mentions that Casey is living a little dangerously, or maybe she should live a little dangerously. And I'm like, Derek, do you even know her? Like, I'm only 4 episodes in, and I know that girl is never trying to live dangerously.
That's him trying to talk her into letting the party happen. And you know what? It does work because it hits a note with what Paul had said as well. For a while, Casey does enjoy herself at the party until she realizes that it's just too out of hand. I think it's like when sports teams start showing up that she's like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I have a note that I can't believe that you didn't write down because it's such a Jessica note. When the party first starts, Derek walks into the living room with the largest platters of chips I have ever seen.
I didn't write it down because I went, I'll remember to talk about this because it was so aggressive. It would be used for like a party size, like you are hosting people over for Super Bowl and you're serving nachos for 25. Like it was huge. You noted this, which I actually didn't notice, but I love this. Instead of chugging beer, the guys are shooting whipped cream into each other's mouths.
Yeah, there's a little clip where there's like 4 guys lined up laying down on the kitchen table, and someone is like putting whipped cream in each of their mouths, and they're all like, hit me again, like taking turns.
Okay, something I didn't like, and I'm starting to see this. I personally don't really understand so far why Emily and Casey are friends. It doesn't really make sense to me. But Emily introduces Casey to that guy to flirt with. And then when she's locked in the bathroom, we see Emily downstairs flirting with that same guy.
I didn't even notice that it was the same guy, to be honest. They're all just a bunch of like teenage white Canadian dudes. So
Yeah.
they all kind of look the same if they're not a speaking role. I think Casey and Emily, like, they're not the best of friends in that they're not great friends to each other, especially Emily to Casey. But I do think they're pretty realistic for high school friends of like convenience. Like, you share a locker together. You're going to be friends. You're going to see each other a lot. So you're going to talk. So you might as well, and you live next to each other. So I think it makes sense in that way.
Yeah, that's fair. The other thing I wanted to shout out was during the party scene, The Party's Next Door by Captain Everything is playing, which is not a huge punk band by any means, but like I feel like that song is very iconic for the like mid-aughts time frame. They were like a big MySpace band. So when I heard that song, I was like, oh my god, this song, I had to look it up, but I was like, I know this song. I need to find out what it is.
That's so me of you, because I did not recognize it, but that happens to me all the time.
Yeah, they weren't like a huge, it's not like if they included like a Fall Out Boy or a Boys Like Girls or something like that, but it still is one of those songs where it's like the pop punk scene and the MySpace scene would know that song, you know?
Well, yeah, no, I know. I didn't expect that they were huge, but it's like I can still sing 90% of the words to the Jordan Pruitt songs
Yeah.
from 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and like if I heard that in a mall, I would be like, I know that song.
Yeah.
So I'm very impressed with you. I do have to ask, sort of, how do you feel about the like bathroom goo on their faces and hair and stuff?
I didn't really think anything about it, to be honest. I guess those scenes weren't short, but I was just like, oh yeah, they're fighting, they're like shooting stuff at each other. That feels like something siblings would do.
Mm-hmm.
Especially them.
Yeah, I agree. It's most of the time, for context, like the whole time that they're talking in the bathroom, that they're having the heart to heart, and afterwards when the parents come, they have like white creams, like shampoos and things like that on their faces and hair and bodies.
Yeah.
I really think I asked this mostly because I watched this shortly after watching Quiet on Set, which was the documentary that about Nickelodeon, but it had a lot to do with Dan Schneider shows. And one of the recurring bits is kind of like the cum shot,
Yeah.
which I think his can be a little more explicit. In like one of the things that they brought up was a Zoe 101 episode where the shot was literally like supposed to be one character was like squirting something that ended up on another character's face, and like the camera was in the perspective of the person doing the squirting. So that is like more explicit. The only thing that made me a little uncomfy with this one was like at the end when the parents were lecturing them, Derek was cleaned up and Casey wasn't. And I just didn't understand why.
Yeah, I just didn't notice. But now that you're saying it, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird that they would make him cleaned up and she wouldn't. That is a strange choice.
I'm not saying anything malicious happened here, guys.
Yeah.
I'm not at all. It was purely just something that I was watching right after having this other perspective. Because growing up as kids, when we watched it, we wouldn't think anything of it. And I do like the way that this is contextualized, and like, yeah, most of the stuff that they shot at each other in the bathroom would look like that, and siblings would fight like that, especially these ones.
Yes. Getting on to flirting scale, I give it a 3 out of 10. I felt like this one was a little flirty.
It was, right?
Yeah, it was a little flirty. Like the moments of fighting, but then also reconciling with each other in a closed-knit space. It was a little flirty.
They were like sitting way closer together than they needed to be. That bathroom was quite spacious.
They were like knee to knee, basically.
Yeah, in a spacious bathroom. They chose to sit in like the narrowest portion to be knee to knee. And there's this part where he's like, sorry, No, she's like, you finally drove me crazy. And he's like, it wasn't a far drive. And then he apologizes. And she's like, did you just apologize? And he's like, no. And it is kind of flirty.
Yeah, a little bit. This is one of the only ones so far for me, but I was like, okay.
This is me cackling at you finally kind of getting it.
Yeah.
They're siblings, but they're step siblings, guys.
Yeah.
Don't take this out of context, please.
Yeah. We're also including this because the lore of the show, like what I knew, which I don't think we explicitly said in the last one, but what I knew about this show going on is that it was the show that had incest vibes. So like we just gotta politely rate that.
Yeah, and I also think it's part of our due diligence as rewatching and critiquing this show for people who are curious about this aspect of the show but don't necessarily want to go back and watch it all themselves. We're giving you our accurate vibe read on it now. And it's accurate because Jess has never seen it. So she's less biased. And yeah.
Yeah.
Quotes.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the very first quotes in this episode is Casey to Derek saying, I've seen your bathroom aim before. No way you hit the target. And she says it twice, I think. I think she says it at the beginning of the episode and then later on because it's like a clip from which to me felt like a very grown-up line in a Disney show.
Yeah, it's pretty grown up.
It's like she's referring to him peeing.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is natural and normal, but not for Disney Channel. No.
Yeah. And especially 15-year-olds talking about it on Disney Channel. Like, I think it would be, I don't know. Yeah. I was like, I don't actually think it would be different if it was any other age. I think it was just strange that there was teenagers saying that.
I think it'd be weirder if they were younger.
Yeah.
Because it's anyway. Next one. When they're fighting, when Derek and Casey are fighting is the context for this.
Yes. They ask, George and Nora, what example are you setting for Marty? And Marty answers and goes, a bad one.
So happily. A bad one.
Yeah. Lizzie says teenagers are freaks. And I just really loved how uncomfortable everything about these teenagers made Lizzie. Like, it just felt accurate, but also hilarious.
Yeah, I love Lizzie. She's kind of like the straight man sometimes, and she just says it like it is. And I also wrote that line down because teenagers are freaks. Lizzie, go off.
Yeah.
Another great Lizzie quote is when she is relaying her information after watching the people make out. She says, I saw this guy touching tongues with a girl. It was gross. Edwin, in relaying to the kids, to the teenagers, how scary it is, says, but it's scary down there. What if they want to pierce me in weird places?
Yeah. They're so terrified. Poor kids.
It's so funny, though. I'm like, my eyes are watering.
Yeah.
Okay. Episode 6.
Marti the Monster. Nora and George are going to a Shakespeare play, but the babysitter fell through, and by fell through, I think maybe they forgot to actually even confirm the babysitter. So they're asking Casey to babysit, but she has plans to go shopping with Emily, and she's like, this is unfair because I'm the only one who's ever asked. Derek is never asked to babysit, which, why the hell would they ever ask Derek to babysit?
Well, they're the same age, and he should be responsible enough.
Sure.
But she says no, and she goes to Paul and says, she straight up says, this is sexist. My mom is a fake feminist.
Yep.
She never asks Derek. And Paul says, is this really a sexist thing, or is this a Casey versus Derek thing? And she's like, you're so right. It's all Derek's fault.
At dinner, she's asked again if she'll watch Marty, and she only agrees after they agree to pay her $12 an hour.
Slay for 2005? Well, Canadian dollars, though.
Yeah, but still. Then later on at school, we see the new girl, Sandra, who Derek is kind of crushing on, sees a photo of Marty in Derek's locker, and asks about her. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's my younger sibling. Like, I babysit her all the time. I'm actually babysitting her on Saturday. Do you want to come over for lunch? And she's like, I need to study. And he's like, well, we could study as well. And so she ends up agreeing to come over. And he's like, actually, Casey, I got it. I'll babysit. You can stick to your plans. And Casey's like, no, you're only in this for the money because they agreed to pay me. And now you want to be paid, not realizing that he's actually only in it for the girl.
Yeah, that photo of Marty in his locker was not there before he found out Sandra was a bit of a goody two-shoes, guys. So then to figure out who gets the right to babysit when neither of them previously wanted to, they have a competition, which is so hilarious. Casey goes first, and it's to see who can, like, get Marty in her PJs and to bed the best within 10 minutes. And Casey does not do great. Look, it's called Marti the Monster for a reason. She's being real difficult behind the closed door and doesn't want to put on her PJs, and she can't really get her to do anything. Derek, on the other hand, does a fantastic job. He gets her in her PJs, nothing else, but like she's happy. So she says she gets to choose, and she chooses Derek. And then Derek, very sus, tries to rush Casey out of the house. He has Edwin watching Marty. Lizzie's at a play date because Sandra's coming over, and Sandra comes over right as Casey's about to leave, and she's like, actually, I'd really like to watch the show.
And so Sandra quickly learns that Marty was used as bait to get her over. So she leaves to go shopping with Emily and Casey, and Edwin weirdly also has a crush on Sandra. So Edwin's like, I will hold your shopping bags and go shopping with y'all. Then they all come back from shopping, and while they were out, Derek let Marty turn him into a little princess. So she gave him a makeover, and Sandra sees this, and she's like, you know what, I will go out with you. And so then Casey ends up covering the rest of the babysitting shift.
And then the parents come home, and Derek is fully making out with Sandra.
I don't remember that.
Oh,
Okay.
It's in my notes.
Okay. That's blacked out of my brain. I'm like, I must have looked away. I don't know what happened.
I'm going to be sending it to you. I will go back to that episode and record it because, okay, let's just get into it. Like, it's the last of my notes, but like we're in the notes section. So the way Derek and Sandra are making out at the end, they are horizontal on the couch.
What?
They are he is on top of her making out.
I need to see this. I don't remember any of this.
Yeah, you do need to see this. You need to pay attention when you watch this show, Jessica.
I was, but I guess not well enough. Going to the top of our notes, not really related to the plot at all, but at the beginning of the episode, Nora asks if Casey has a spare bra to borrow, and that's just a weird thing for your mom to ask. Like, I don't care if you're close with your mother. That's strange to me.
I just interpreted it as all of Nora's bras are dirty, but also, like, bras don't really get that dirty that easily, and, like, you could probably make one. It is a weird thing. And Casey is like, I don't think mine would fit you, which, like, your mom would know.
Yeah, because your mom's probably the one buying them for you.
Yeah. But I also, at the same time, I agree it's weird, but I liked it. Because they talked about bras. Because the boys were like, ew, bras. And I was like, what is this? Why is this on Disney Channel? This is like so grown up.
Yeah, but we also got a whole episode about bras in like 2001 with Lizzie. So Disney's been on the bra.
Okay, but this is like casual bra mention and not like I'm growing up and need one.
Yeah, I appreciated the conversation topic. I just thought that was a weird thing to ask to borrow. The other problem I had with this plot is that literally 2 episodes ago, it's a big deal that they're letting Casey and Derek watch the kids. And there was a giant party and it was all this drama. But now they're going to a Shakespeare play and having Casey babysit Marty. But who's watching Lizzie and Edwin?
I assumed that, I mean, we knew Lizzie had a play date. I think Edwin was either busy or something, but then they had him not be busy. I don't know for sure. But I just kind of assumed that this wasn't as big of a deal because it wasn't an overnight trip. And during the day, the tweens are self-sufficient. It's really only Marty that needs to be watched.
Okay, That is a fair distinction, that this is just like a few hours for them to go see a play. But I still thought it was like weird because 2 episodes ago we had this big thing.
Yeah, it was kind of like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
I really like that Casey straight up, I've said this before about other shows, about other episodes, but I like when they use the language. I like that she straight up says, my mom's a bad feminist and this is sexist and all that. Like, I like that she's like, this is not okay. Feminism is the right way and this is not feminism.
Mm-hmm.
In the storyline of Marty is actually a cat.
Yeah.
During the beginning of this episode, they're all sat around the table having dinner, and Marty is underneath the table, and Casey's like, you let her eat like that? And George is like, no, we don't. And then Marty refuses to get up, and he's like, okay, fine, this is your last time. And she's like hissing at people, and then at one point Edwin's like, you spilled your water on me, and she's like, that's not water.
Yeah.
She's straight up like, and she's like doing the little hand thing, and it's just very cute and very weird.
It's very cute, but yes, also very weird. I just want to say that this, not that these episodes are necessarily teaching life lessons, but if Derek would like to learn a life lesson, it would be, don't pretend to be someone you're not just to date someone. It's never going to go well. It never ends well. We have seen this in other Disney shows. It doesn't go well.
Yeah, these are not teaching you life lessons. I wouldn't say that if they are, they're not doing so in such an explicit way that we're used to with the heavily produced Disney shows.
Yep.
So I think it's pretty clear, like, you shouldn't fake who you are, but he keeps talking to Sandra. In another episode, he's on the phone with her.
Ay.
But I kind of get that, like, you know, she saw him be like a good older brother, and he can be a good older brother, and she found that endearing.
Yeah, he can. And speaking of that, I have to say that is like actually probably of the like duo relationships, one of my favorite relationships on this show is Derek and Marty, because as we said, like, Derek's kind of like an asshole, a prankster. He's the cool kid. He's used to getting what he wants. He was like the oldest in the household. Like, he has a huge persona, but the way that he acts with Marty is just like letting his little kid out.
It's really endearing.
It's so endearing and it's so cute. They call each other Smarty and Smerick.
Yeah, he calls her Smarty, so she calls him Smerick. And she just has a soft spot for him. And repeatedly, he's the only one that can get through to her when she doesn't want to do stuff. And yeah, it's really cute.
Yeah, he like has the ability to like meet her where she's at, which I feel like no one else in the household, not that they don't have the ability to, but like they get frustrated or annoyed or irritated with her, where like he is like, okay, if we have to like do this fun weird activity, or I need to be a princess, like I guess that's what we're gonna do, you know?
Yeah, he might complain, but he'll do it for her.
The other thing I want to touch on was Edwin's crush on Sarah, or on Sandra. Why? I know this was Family Channel, but like, why do why do Disney shows do this? Why do they put the younger kid always crushing on someone who's like too old for them?
Mm-hmm. It feels like a stereotype because as a kid, I didn't see older people like my brother's age and think that I would crush on them. I didn't find them because I knew that they were so much older. They felt like another species.
Fair.
But I did know kids who did.
Yeah.
I will say, I think Edwin doesn't bother me quite as much as some of the other ones because there's such a clear role model for him in the house, because he's like very clearly following Derek's lead when it comes to objectifying girls and going after them. Whereas like I'd say Corey Baxter didn't have that. He was living with Raven and he had great parents and a great older sister. And Zach and Cody were each other's, you know? So I get it a little bit more with Edwin. It's still not great, but I don't hate it as much.
Yeah, that's fair. I still didn't love it. Casey and Marty at the end of the night do a little dance party in the kitchen, and it's cute as hell.
It is really, really cute. And it's really cute because Casey struggles with Marty a little bit and Derek finds it so natural. And so the times when they do bond, it's like extra cute.
Yeah, because you know it's definitely more out of Casey's comfort zone to have those moments. So when they do have those moments, they're just really adorable. Okay, our flirting scale. I gotta be honest, I'm not getting flirting from this episode. I said maybe a 1, but honestly 0.
I think that's fair. I don't think this episode was particularly flirty. And they're not all quotes.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the episode, they're all in the kitchen getting ready for the day with their breakfast, and Casey walks down in an outfit and asks George, "How do I look?" And George says, "It's very cool." And she goes, "Ugh, I'm changing."
Yeah.
Because if George thinks it's cool, it can't possibly be
It
cool.
would be cool. Yeah. Lizzie says this quote and goes, "We used to love," they're sitting down for dinner and Nora made dinner and made tofu and everyone's kind of has grumbles about it. And Lizzie goes, "We used to love tofu at our old house. I can't remember why."
To be fair, I think George made Nora's recipe, and George is not a good cook.
No. He's the Carrie Martin in the cooking world.
In the I can't believe this show was picked up for Disney Channel vein, because I just constantly am surprised by certain lines.
Yeah.
When they're at the dinner table talking about Sandra and Derek liking her, Casey says, "You just like her because she's got a big chest." And Derek says, "Oh, I didn't notice her chest. Now, her breasts, on the other hand."
Mm-hmm.
And the parents interrupt. And then when Sandra does show up and Marty sees her, she says, "You're pretty, and you do have a big you-know-what."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? We're talking about breastises?
Yeah, and they had a 6-year-old say that line too.
Even 15-year-olds talking about boobs. I'm like, what?
I mean, 15-year-olds do talk about boobs. Like, that shouldn't be so abnormal, but in Disney it is.
I know that some of them do, but I did not.
Oh, I definitely did.
Yeah. Yeah, I mostly did in the way of like, oh my god, I'm 15 and I have ginormous boobs. How uncomfortable is that?
Yeah.
But the like, you just like her chest. No, I like her breasts. Like, what?
Yeah.
And then to have a 6-year-old. Yeah. Anyway, I need to calm down.
Speaking of Marty, I think she shows it to Sandra, but she's hanging out and she goes, "This is the biggest scab I ever got," and hands a gross dried scab to Sandra.
Yep, Marty notoriously loves scabs. In an episode we're not going to cover, Derek gets the chicken pox and she asks George if she can pick his scabs. And he says, "Unfortunately, those aren't your scabs to pick."
Which, good life lesson to learn.
Yeah. Pick your own scabs, nobody else's.
Yep.
Unless they want you to. Episode number 10. Babe Raider. This one? Yeah. Okay. Casey walks downstairs to Derek and Edwin playing a video game called Babe Raider, which, yes, is a parody of Tomb Raider. And they're talking about how hot the character is, but also the action. And she's like, "This is disgusting. This is why guys are immature. This house is not suitable for raising young women." So she decides to do her media project on sexist games and why they should be banned, and also proposes that the house follow a feminist manifesto, which she delivers to the entire family at the table. Says this is to have more sensitivity towards women in the household. For instance, the boys should not be sitting on their siblings, which is something that they show them doing. The boys should not be leaving the toilet seat up. And also, they should not be playing games like Babe Raider. And Derek needs to take down his posters of half-naked women that are all over his room.
Casey, later on in the episode, finds out that Sam, who told her that he's like used to the feminist stuff because of his sisters, also plays Babe Raider. And she's like upset about this, but she's like, I still kind of have a crush on him. I don't really know why, because this annoys me that he does this, but I still kind of like him.
Yeah, she calls herself a hypocrite to Paul.
Yeah, and Paul tells her, Casey, maybe you should just play the game. Like, see what it's all about. Play the game.
Also lets it slip that he plays the game.
Yeah. She can't figure out how to turn it on. Like, she's trying for like an hour. And so eventually she asks for Edwin's help because she's like, I cannot go to Derek, but Edwin will help me out. And she ends up loving it. And she actually ends up being pretty good at it too. And so Sam shows up while everyone in the house is out eating pancakes, but Casey's still home because they all left without her because she stayed up all night playing video games and they didn't want to wake her. And so they play Babe Raider together.
She has a dream of zombie Derek and Babe Raider Casey saving Sam from him. And then she goes to school in the Babe Raider outfit, which is like a black top that shows a midriff. It's a little tight. It doesn't show cleavage, but it is shoulderless, so it like has straps on the arms, and then there's like, I don't know, low waist pants, like they're just pants.
Yeah.
But it's enough to draw attention. She goes to school in it feeling like empowered. She's getting a lot of attention from men. Edwin and Derek are not okay with this. And finally, Derek pulls her aside and is like, so did you get to the topless level? And she then gets really confused because what do you mean there's a topless level? And like, that's not okay. And so she actually gives like a pretty insightful presentation to her class, which then she also gives to the family. That's like a transition about how these games can feel fun for men, but they are empowering for women and also confusing for them at the same time, and that all of that can exist at once, and writes a letter to the game company about their representation of women and has everyone in her class sign it. And then Sam signs it too.
My first note on the plot is, in order to agree to Casey's feminist manifesto, Edwin wants a thumb drive.
Yeah.
I'm like, what a nerd. Like,
He is, and I love it. I love my little nerd. Okay, I mean, the big topic,
yeah.
the portrayal of feminism in this episode.
Yeah.
How did you feel about it? Or do you want me to answer first?
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
It's fresh on the brain. So I know when I watched this episode, when I was initially watching To Assign, I was really pleasantly surprised with it. And I was on the fence because I'm one who's like, I was ready to go to bat for Tomb Raider at first, to be like, I don't think Tomb Raider's this bad. But then watching it again today, I again was very, very impressed. Like, I think it's a good portrayal. I think it's very nuanced. I love that feminism in this household is the standard, like at least for the for the McDonald's. Like, Nora at the dinner table is like, we're all feminists, right? I didn't love George's attitude. George is the only one I had an issue with. Like, when Derek doesn't want to take down his posters, George is like, don't throw them out, just like put them away until, he literally says, like, until this feminist wave passes. So there's that. But overall, like, I do find characters like Lara Croft empowering, and I do find using your sexuality empowering. So I don't know, I didn't really find any major fault with it.
Yeah. I think when I first started watching the episode, I had a lot of issues with it. But as it came to a loop where then she played the game and she found it empowering, but still was frustrated by certain points and was able to convey that, that's when I was like, oh, this is what feminism is, and this is what a conversation about feminism should be. But in the first 5 minutes, I was like, I don't know if I like where this is going.
Why?
Because it just felt very like, let's get rid of the portrayal of like sex and sexuality and like hot women, and that equates to being a feminist, and that's not, just simply not true. But then when it had this whole arc to it, it was a very well-rounded plot. I should have looked up who wrote this episode, because like, props to the writers and the fact that this was done in 2005. I think it was, I'm not saying it's perfect. I don't think any of these shows' portrayals of anything are ever going to be perfect, especially with Disney, but I think it was really well-rounded.
So it sounds like we had similar situations in the first watches, because I was the same way. And when I say like I find Lara Croft empowering, I've never played Tomb Raider, but I watched the Angelina Jolie movies when I was really, really young, when they came out, and I was in like 3rd and 4th grade. I also was ready to be kind of annoyed at Casey's portrayal of feminism at the beginning, but it's so real to be a young girl. Especially, I remember the discussions a lot about our bodies and sexuality and using them, and is that feminist or is that like degrading to women? And that's very much a part of this. I also love how much Casey and Nora emphasize that feminism is for everyone, not just women.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first, Edwin and Derek are quite resistant to it. And they're like, we're not feminists, we're Gaius. And they're like, no, everyone should be a feminist. It's
Yeah.
about equality. I don't know if it's perfect.
Yeah.
But I don't think anything could be perfect. I can't think of a critique for it. I think it is the best singular discussion of feminism I've seen in
Yeah.
in a contained episode of anything that I've watched, probably.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
It's not intersectional, so that would be maybe my only critique, but that would be incredibly difficult in the short episodes that we have.
Yeah.
And usually when I find good representations of feminism, they're contained within highly intersectional shows that have a lot of people of color on them that lends itself to it. So for this being what it is, I just think it's really, really well written and really insightful for, like you said, like, as this is 2005, I was like, I'm watching this now and I don't think anyone has topped this.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. There were also parts where I was like, I appreciated where like Derek was upset that he had to take down his posters, and so he asked Nora why, and she's not able to get reasons to give him straight reasons, but she tries. And I liked that there were conversations around like why these rules are being put in place, why they're upsetting the women in the family, how they can all talk together to come to like solutions that make sense for all of them. And I appreciated that it felt like a conversation and not like one-sided.
Yeah. With the outfit portion of it, I didn't love some of the comments that Casey got about that from other women, but those felt quite realistic and I loved her responses to them. Because, like, when she's wearing the outfit in the kitchen, Lizzie immediately is like, "Why is your stomach showing?" I don't remember what Casey says because she's just, like, happy about her outfit, as she should be. Like, she looked great. But I was like, "Casey's stomach is showing half of these episodes. Like, who really cares?" Like,
Yeah.
that was the style. Girls would show their midriff in this time. My parents wouldn't let me. And then when she's at school, she is getting a lot of male attention. And Emily makes a comment about, aren't you just using the outfit to get comments from guys? And Casey says that's their problem, not hers. Which I was just like, slay. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I think those are our main ones on this portion of the plot.
Yeah, the substance, guys. Now we get into the
substance.
silly notes.
The silly notes. I would be absolutely furious if my parents did not wake me up for pancakes. They went out for pancakes. They like went to a diner to go get delicious pancakes and they didn't wake her up. I'd be pissed. I'm like, I don't care if I'm on 1 hour of sleep. I'm fucking getting pancakes.
I really love that you added the qualifier of delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume I just envisioned they went to IHOP, but yeah, it's weird that they were like, "Oh, we'll let her sleep." Like, you didn't even try waking her up to ask her if she wanted to go. You left her a note.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought it was crazy. I was like, I'd be so mad.
I would want to be woken up and then given the option to keep sleeping.
Okay, fair.
Also, I never ever eat pancakes, but now, like, low key, I kind of want some.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
Sibling tension scale.
I said 0 out of 10. I did not feel any tension in this episode.
I would give it a 1, maybe a 1.5 because of one specific portion. There's mostly not a lot of tension between them in the flirting. There's always tension between them as siblings. Just because when she is wearing that outfit, Edwin and Derek are very pressed. And Derek especially. They're like, this is unfair. Like, what do you mean we have to, like, stop objectifying women, but she can objectify herself? Which, like, is an actual question a lot of people ask about feminism. And I was like, slay. But also, I was like, Derek, why do you care so much about what Casey does with her body? Because he was befuddled. And when Sam was like, whoa, she's really rocking that outfit, he was like, don't look at her like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay. Quotes. I think you wrote all these.
I think I did too. When Derek is taking down his posters with George and he's complaining about it, George says, Derek, I agree. There is no greater contribution to culture than the modern thong. This is a grown
Oh.
lawyer father telling this to his 15-year-old son.
Yeah. It's not okay, I don't think.
But it is funny. And
Yeah.
that also sounds like something you would have said at some point. Not to like your child, but to your friend.
Yeah.
Because you love a thong.
I do. We recently were texting, and Amanda was like, yeah, they're not really my go-to. And I was like, that is a strange statement to make. But also, I know that I have weird, like, even in high school, a lot of people are like, oh no, I can't. I don't feel comfortable. And I'm like, dude, thongs all the way. No panty lines, baby.
You bought me my first thong. And it was my
Oh.
only thong for a long time.
Yeah, they're great. I do agree. They are a great contribution to culture. I don't know if there is no greater contribution to culture.
I think Edwin says this when Derek is trying to tell him what to do. And he says, after post implementation of the manifesto, he says, you can't tell me what to do because you're not a woman. And I was like, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
When Sam and Casey are playing Babe Raider, he says, you kick butt for a girl. Actually, you kick butt for anybody,
Mm-hmm.
which is the correct correction, guys. You don't play good for a girl. You play
Just
good.
play
You
good.
just play good. Yeah. And I love that he caught himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the dream, when she saves him, Sam says, you're the king of babes. And she says, more like the queen of babes. And I was
Yeah.
like, I want to be known as the queen of babes for other reasons.
Yeah.
Episode 11.
The wedding. Not anyone notable, but just wanted to say we have cousin Vicky comes in this episode, and she is played by Sarah Gadon, who was in a lot of the same things that all these actors were in. Nora and George agree to host Nora's sister's wedding reception at their house, and Casey is the wedding planner. And Derek gets put in charge of the wedding video. And at first he pawns it off to Edwin, but then he really chooses to like own this wedding video task. And her cousin Victoria shows up, and Casey hates her. Like, even Nora is like, Casey, you need to like hold it together for my sister. We need to make this reception go off successfully. Like, whatever Victoria says to you, you need to just like handle it in stride and like keep it calm and cool. And Derek just immediately has a crush on her, as he does. And she hands off the flowers. And then she's like, Casey, I know we agreed that like I would help you out in the rest of the planning to make sure everything goes out great. But I hate Harry and I don't really want my mom to marry him. So I'm just not going to help. And so Vicky is continual not helping at all and being mean and like pestering Casey, and she's trying to keep her cool, but she is getting over it, and everything is going wrong. The makeup artist does a horrible job, and then Vicky drops the wedding cake all over the floor, and Casey quits.
Casey drops the wedding cake all over
Oh.
Vicky, all over the floor.
Oh, yes, that is what happens. And then we find out that Harry tripped on a rock, so George is in the emergency room with Harry, and Derek's like, no, we need this to be successful. My wedding video needs a killer end, so we need to get things rolling. And so Casey finally leaves her room to go downstairs and sees Derek working on decorations, and he makes Casey go and talk to Victoria. And they kind of like open up to each other, and Victoria has always been jealous of her having siblings, and we learn that Casey was popular at her old school. And, Casey's like, well, I'm not popular anymore. And like, I've always been jealous of you. And they kind of have that conversation. And that's really we see the film at the end, but we don't see like the actual wedding reception or anything happen at all.
I really love that we never even see Harry.
No.
It's really funny.
Getting into notes, one of the first things that happens in this episode is Derek tries to give Edwin a wet willy. And like, why are wet willies a thing? I was like, oh my God. So gross. But like, why was this a thing? Why are people trying to give each other wet willies? Just gross.
What's extra funny about that scene is Derek's like chasing him around the house, and George is like, "Why are you doing this?" And then Derek explains why, and George is like, "Wet Willy for sure." Yeah, no, wet willies are gross. I agree. I've never had one, so I don't get mad about it, you know? I'm like, as
Mm.
long as it's a thing on TV and nowhere else. In my mind, it's nowhere else. Don't do it, guys. It doesn't exist. Don't think about it.
Yeah. Vicky or Victoria loves her dress that she's wearing and is so upset that it's ruined when the cake gets all over it. But like, I didn't really understand the dress.
I have no memory of it at all. We didn't mention this in the summary at all, but Marty's a big part of this plot. In that they
Yes.
have to keep her busy, and she's having a purple day. So everything about her life has to be purple, and she needs to eat, and she's like getting stuff on her dress, and she eats these little berries that are in a bouquet of flowers that Victoria brought. And they get really worried because she says she doesn't feel good, and they get really stressed that she might be sick. And Derek just immediately swoops in and gets her to cough them up, and they realize it was plastic. But I'm assuming that all of that is why you wrote Marty and Derek's sibling relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's really sweet.
It was sweet. I also just like, yeah, constantly she's like, but it's purple day. When they're like, Marty, you're gonna get your dress dirty. Or like, Marty, you can't eat that. And she's like, but it's purple day because her dress is purple. And then later when she's feeling sick, she's like, oh, I ate too much purple.
We both like the ending that it just is Derek's wedding video bloopers behind the scenes and not actually the wedding. You never see it.
Or more, what I was saying is normally at the end of the episodes, we get bloopers from the episode, but on this episode,
Mm,
instead of getting bloopers from the episode, we get like behind the scenes bloopers from Derek's wedding video, which I thought
mhm.
was a smart choice.
We get the director's cut where you see him and Victoria kiss, which is alluded
Yes.
to in the rest of the episode,
Yep.
which is funny and also unnecessary. This is probably Derek's most endearing episode, at least to date, because
Yeah.
he really does swoop in. When Casey gives him the role of wedding videographer, he immediately is like, my dream. And Edwin's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, directors get to boss everyone around. And he really steps into his director role.
Yeah.
But when uh, Casey quits as wedding planner, Lizzie goes to Derek and is like, what are you going to do? Because he is the oldest in command.
Yeah.
And he's like, what are you talking about? And then, yeah, he uses the whole, like, it's for my movie, it's for the video, whatever excuse. But he really does. Well, we glossed over. He tries to get Casey involved. She doesn't want anything of it. And then she only comes back because she can see how hard he's working. And, like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he steps up for the sake of the family. And this
Yeah.
isn't even the Venturi family. This is the McDonald family.
Yeah. He really does.
Sibling tension scale, you put 0 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
I moved it to 1 because of one specific quote.
Okay.
I really need to calm the fuck down. I'm so sorry, guys. This is gonna get me canceled. In 10 years from now, when I'm a successful author and TV writer, people are gonna find these videos and be like, she supports incest. And I want you to know I'm thinking about this all the time. That's fine. I can't say that enough. No.
All I'm saying, guys, is I gave it a 0.
I bumped it to a 1 because when Victoria enters the house, Casey says that she's a huge pain, something like that. And then Derek sees her and he's in the middle of saying, well, she's related to you, so she must be a major, and he's supposed to say pain, but he sees her and he says, babe.
Okay, I'll take it.
Anyway, other quotes. At the beginning, when Nora refers to Casey as the wedding planner, she just says, like, follow everything the wedding planner says. And Edwin goes, wedding planner? You mean like J-Lo? Which I thought was a sick reference, dude, to a dated rom-com.
Yep. I still appreciated it. Also, Lizzie, when shit hits the fan and they're trying to figure out how they're going to pull this wedding reception off, Lizzie's like, I can make a cake. And they're like, you know how to bake? And she's like, no, but I'm a can do kind of person.
That was the reason I made this episode. I think that quote specifically is the reason I made this episode optional viewing for you.
Mm.
I think I wasn't going to assign it. And then I was like, no, Jessica would really like this part of Lizzie's personality.
Yeah. Yeah. They're like, oh, you know how to bake? She's like, nope, but I'm a can do type of gal. It's like, yep. And she tries. It doesn't turn out, well, we don't see the finished product, but it doesn't look like it's going too hot, but she tries.
Yep. And in a previous episode that I did not assign to you, she makes cookies. And she does it all wrong, and they're really bad.
Oh,
but she tries, and she
I
follows
did.
the recipe.
I did watch that episode. Oh, maybe not. Where she puts way too much salt. It's like pinch of salt, but she literally like dumps the salt in.
Oh, I think that's in this when she's making the cake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think what we do or don't know about Edwin and Lizzie, I think Edwin has the least personality of all of the siblings.
Yeah.
Lizzie I really like, and I'm just throwing this in here because we just did a Lizzie quote and I forgot to say it in our previous episode, which y'all, if you want to hear our thoughts on the characters and like the intro of the show, we already did that. I really, really like Lizzie's tomboy representation, and I remember liking her watching the show when I was a kid. I like the way she dresses, I like the way she acts, I like her attitude. I just think that she is a more realistic version of a tomboy or a not girly girl than I usually see.
Yeah.
Because she likes sports, but she's not one of the boys.
Yeah, I also think she's a good like representation of a youngest sibling turned middle child. Like the way that she navigates things, because she is kind of quirky and unique. And yeah, she does give middle sibling energy, I feel like, in this combined household.
Yeah, she does. She and Edwin are just such counterparts.
Yeah. Well, getting into our final episode, episode 13, Male Code Blue. Sam is eating dinner at the Venturi McDonald household, and they're all talking about a crush that Edwin has. And Marty mentions that she wants Sam and Casey to crush on each other. And George kind of mentions that like it's not cool for guys to crush on their friends' siblings, and Derek agrees. And then later at school, Emily's like, "Oh, how's your progress with Sam going?" and encourages her to ask him out. And Paul, the guidance counselor, gets Casey to open up about her crush, and she shares that like Derek doesn't know.
But she also says, Derek doesn't care what I do, and I don't care what he does. She doesn't think Derek cares the way that he does.
Yeah. And so she sits down next to Sam for lunch, and he invites her to go to their hockey playoff games. And then we hear him like about to ask her out on Saturday night. But then Derek sits down and interrupts. And so Casey leaves, and Derek brings up how he knows Sam will never go for Casey because of the male code, which is best friends are off limits. Best friend siblings are off limits, even step siblings. And then later on, Sam is over again, and Casey kind of confronts him in the kitchen about treating her differently. And she's like, "Hey, at lunch, I thought you were going to ask me out. Like, I'm pretty sure you were going to ask me out." And he's like, I don't see you like that.
So then at the dinner table, she's kind of being rude to him back. They kind of go their separate ways, and she ruminates on it and kind of grows up a little bit, for lack of a better term. And so in the kitchen, she offers him some pie, and he's like, surprised she's being nice. And she says, "You're Derek's friend. I'm going to have to see you a lot. We should just get past the awkwardness." Being very mature. But Sam is clearly going through a little turn here. And when Derek is pulled away by a phone call from a girl, Edwin comes up to Sam and is like, "So you like my sister? And let me talk to you," because Edwin is also in his first relationship in this episode and is giving sage advice. And kind of says, if Derek's really such a good friend, why is he in the way of your happiness? So Sam starts getting snippy with Derek about how, "Oh, we're only playing video games you want to play because you love to make all the rules and you love to tell me what to do. And eventually they have like a confrontation, and he ends up telling Casey about the male code, and she's like, I dodged a bullet because that's stupid, Derek, but also Sam, you're stupid for listening to him.
Yeah.
But Derek tells Sam to go to Casey, and so he goes and apologizes, and they have their first kiss,
Mhm.
and all of the younger siblings cheer. And then in the end scene, Sam, Derek, and Casey are like playing cards at the dinner table, and
Yeah.
Derek's like, don't just ground rules, like, don't be too coupley in front of me. And
Yeah.
also, whoever is playing footsie with me needs to stop, and they both stop.
Yeah. It's very cute.
It isn't silly.
It is silly. Speaking of silliness and just like the overall like how this show goes is I like that so much of this show centers around family dinner time conversations or like kitchen scenes. We see a lot of the family in the kitchen, a lot of the family around the dinner table, and it just feels very realistic of like that is how you would get insight into like a family's dirt, what's going on, how everyone acts around each other. Like it is just very realistic that it's like everyone's home and all the drama is being spilled at the dinner table, you know?
Mhm. It is kind of funny that when they first have their dinner, Sam's like, "Do you guys do this all the time?" And they're like, "No, they're trying to our parents are trying to make us impress you." But you actually see them at the dinner table all the time, every episode.
Yeah, yeah.
It is
Uh
pretty realistic because that is the time when your parents ask you, "Hey, how was your day?"
yeah. Or like if there's something annoying that came like happened earlier in the day, you may like tease your sibling about it during dinner, you know? And then so I feel
Mhm.
like those conversations naturally happen. I've already mentioned this, but I really liked it in this episode. I just love I really like that it is a co-led show.
Yeah, you do get more of Derek in this episode. I agree. I think it's something we haven't really had since Even Stevens, probably.
Yeah.
Lizzie and Raven to an extent, but they are more A B specifically, whereas these are so intermingled.
Yeah, like we don't really get like yeah, A plots and B plots like we have gotten. It really is like an A plot and then you may have like weird little subplots, but they're not substantial enough to be a B plot, like Marty's Purple Day. Or in this episode, the kind of like not substantial side plot is that Nora and George are very concerned that they don't know their kids. They're like, are we terrible parents? Like, are we handling this horribly? Like, we don't know our kids. So Lizzie is like, I'm gonna quiz you. And so she quizzes them, and they only get a 2 out of 20. And she's like, it says here for anything less than a 6 out of 20, I need to call a social worker.
They make her quiz them. She's like,
Yeah,
"Are you sure you wanna do this?" And they're like, "How else are we gonna know if we know our kids?"
yeah,
It's really cute because it's they first of all, they do get a 2 out of 20, and there are some things that are unforgivable.
yeah,
First of all, George gets Edwin's birthday wrong, both the day and the year.
yeah, it's bad.
Not as nearly as bad, but just bad on Derek is we also learned Derek's been stealing Lizzie's tooth fairy money.
Yeah,
I don't think it's bad that Nora didn't know that. I think it's bad that Derek's been doing that. And also impressive because how did you anyway,
yeah,
Stuffy. What I like about this is that the reasons that they get insecure about this isn't really that they're doing a bad job. Like, yes, he should definitely know Edwin's birthday, but that they are learning things about each other's kids. They're really what's happening is like Lizzie tells George about how she is the soccer captain, and Nora didn't even know that the soccer team had a captain. And Edwin's telling Nora about his crush at school and how he got a girlfriend, and George didn't know he had a crush. And so they're learning, like, their kids are finding parts of these role models or new parents, their step parents that they resonate with, that they're confiding in them and are truly succeeding at co-parenting.
yeah,
That's how I read that situation. But then they
yeah,
were like, "Why don't I know this about my own child?" And it's like, "Well, actually, because now you're sharing that child, and that child is sharing parts of themselves
yeah.
with the other parent."
You're sharing that child. And like, Nora, you went from 2 to 5. And George, you
Yeah.
went from 3 to 5. Like, you guys are really trying. And like,
Mhm.
it makes sense that you're not going to know everything about the 5 of them like you did when it was just 2 of them.
There's another episode you didn't watch where they were really, really struggling, where it's like they are completely unorganized because the house doesn't have a chore chart and they're like not really
I
keeping
did
track of
watch
things.
that one.
Oh, was it an optional or you just
Yeah.
watched it?
No, it was an optional one.
I'm pretty sure that's the one where they forget to pick up Lizzie and Edwin from school.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, so there are definitely moments where they're not doing a great job,
Yeah. Yeah.
but they're always trying.
Yeah.
And I think they're doing better than they think they are.
I completely agree.
When Sam apologizes to Casey, it gets kind of like rambly and it's actually pretty good. And I just really love like a rambly guy trying to explain his emotions earnestly. It got to me. I was like, I maybe grew up being a Daisy fan, knowing it
Mm.
was wrong and it would never happen. But this is okay. I can get behind this.
Yeah. Yeah, I like Sam and Casey. I think they're cute.
The last note for me is just how do you feel about the whole male code thing?
I think it's weird that that's what they classify it as. I feel like it would just be like a sibling code, not necessarily a male code. Because I'm like, I'm sure, which I guess we do know Emily has a crush on Derek. But like, if Derek were actually to try to pursue that, I'm sure Casey would feel some sort of way about it.
I had the same thought. I don't know how much she would care about that because they knew each other prior, but maybe she would. But in general, it's pretty normal for people to feel weird about their friends and siblings dating because if something bad happens between that relationship, it can make everything uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it can create a lot of other tension, and they're like 15, you're old enough to know that like that can create some tension. So you're like hesitant to accept it because you're like, okay, if my best friend starts dating my sister and then they break up and then he doesn't want to fucking come over and we can't act like things are normal, or when he comes over he only wants to hang out with with my sister and he doesn't want to spend time with me anymore, like that's naturally going to create tension. And 15 years old is old enough to realize that that's going to happen,
Mhm.
or is a potential to happen. So yeah, I felt like it was very realistic. I just don't like that they called it like a male code because I'm like, I just feel like this is a universal experience or feeling.
Yeah, that part was weird.
Yeah.
I did think that it was, like, really big of Casey to be so mature in the kitchen scene and to put herself out there so much with Sam. I was really impressed with her in this episode. Sibling tension scale. I cackled at what you wrote here. I was like, "Finally."
I wrote Loki, I kind of get it now. I say 4 or 5 out of 10, which now, like recapping it, I think I would say a solid 4, maybe 4.5. But like, there are some of this way, like his big focus on the male code and that step siblings are off limits and things. You're like, okay, you're almost too protective of this person that you don't even necessarily like that much.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know,
and
where
you
you're
don't
like,
spend much time with her, and yeah.
yeah, yeah. It just feels protective past a sibling level of protectiveness. It definitely gives flirt. It gives something more is there.
It gives jealousy vibes a bit.
Yeah, totally.
Quotes?
I don't remember who says this.
I don't either. You wrote this one down, babe.
I know, but I'm like, I don't remember. It's I'm shy or stupid. I don't know. Oh, I think it's Sam. I'm shy or stupid. I don't know what I am.
It could be Edwin too,
Yeah, it could
when
be.
he's talking about his little girlfriend thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I wrote when Derek is telling Sam about the mail code. He's like, "You know about the mail code, right?" And Sam's like, "It's my second favorite code after Morse code."
Yours. Yeah, that was good.
So that's season 1 of Life with Derek. I want to give some quick shout outs. Episode 7, Puppy Dog Tales. George pulls a boys will be boys, and Casey and Nora think that that's lazy, which, like, hell yeah. But also, there's a quote in here where George says, "Girls are different to boys, you know," and Derek says, "Yeah, I figured that out the fun way on the old couch."
Derek says that?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
I know.
That's so risky for a Disney show.
That's so
Holy,
risque.
that is shocking, actually.
I know.
Wow.
Episode 9, grade point average. You wanted to shout this one out?
Yeah, I have to say that this is one of the additional episodes where I started to really understand the flirting tension thing, because in this episode, basically Casey is being called a grade grubber because she's a suck up, a teacher's pet, and Derek and her have to end up partnering for a project, and unknowingly Casey's trying to fail to get rid of that reputation, and Derek wants to partner with Casey because he needs an A in order to not fail the class. And so there's the cutscenes that we've talked about. There's one where he's begging on his knees for help with the English project. And then when she finally agrees to help, he's smirking at her. And I was like, ooh, this is a little spicy.
Stop, they're siblings.
I'm just saying.
I know. And then, yeah, I also wanted to point out in this one, I really like this perspective on parenting where Nora really wants to be role models for the kids. And George is like, we're just parents, which I think is probably something every parent goes through. You want to be a good role model, but you are also just a human. And how do you juggle that? They don't have an answer. I don't think there is an answer. I just like that that was thrown out there.
Yeah. Yeah, I also think it's important because, like, I think being a role model implies always doing the right things. And, like,
Mhm.
part of the human experience is that you don't always do the right thing. So sometimes all you can do is parent, because, like, you have to understand that, like, your kids are kids and you probably made those mistakes too. And as an adult, you're going to make mistakes. You can't always be a role model.
Yeah, I agree. I think sometimes the best role model you can be is just being yourself naturally and responding to your mistakes the
Totally.
best you can, you know?
Yeah.
And then I also wanted to do a little note of episode 12, Pox Father, which is one where Derek gets the chicken pox. And
Hmm.
in this one, Casey at one point is convinced that Derek is selling drugs at school to the point where she uses the word drugs, which I was also surprised by because, again, this show aired on Disney Channel. That she was like, "You're selling drugs at school." And he's like, "How stupid do you think I am?" If you wanna know, he's actually selling, like, used office supplies and clothing and stuff that he's just, like, lifting out of their house and selling at school to make extra money because it's the Derek Venturi brand and nerds will buy it.
That feels very Derek. Up next, we're entering Pride Month. So
Woo! Take
we
the break.
Yeah, we are going to pause on the life with Derek, but after the month of June, don't worry, we'll be right back to it with season 2. But we got some fun content coming your way. We're gonna watch a couple movies.
Gonna talk about some music.
Yeah, some music. So we got some fun episodes. So look forward to that. Please, 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 if you have a moment, rate and review the podcast. It really, really helps us. Also follow us on all our social media at 90s Babies Nostalgia. Spell out the word 90s on YouTube and Instagram, but on TikTok, use the numbers there. And please comment and DM. We love interacting with y'all, so we appreciate it. And with that, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
90s babies nostalgia.